Holy flames! What just happened? Continuing towards unlocking curses, next up I needed to complete the Curse of Arav quest. I didn't have a high enough thieving level for this yet, so now seemed like a great opportunity to unlock safe cracking. This is a really fast and easy way to gain thieving XP, but it does require completion of each caper from the Thieves Guild. These are pretty easy and quick to complete, and once I'd finished the final one, it was time for some safe cracking. For safe cracking, you'll need to bring a stethoscope and a loot bag, which are provided upon completing the tutorial from the safe cracking trainer in the Thieves Guild. Then you go around opening safes at various locations based on your level. The wiki can tell you which safes are accessible to you at each level. Once you're cracking a safe, you have to disable a number of locks by waiting for a blue glow around the safe, and then you just click on the safe. Once you have a nice route figured out, you can gain a ton of thieving XP from these. And once my thieving was high enough, it was time to start the Curse of Arav. This is a pretty long quest, but doesn't contain anything particularly difficult. You will fight Arav at one point, but he's not very hard. Eventually, when the quest is complete, you gain a whole ton of XP and a bunch of skills. Later on, when doing some Hellweir, I ended up getting both a Seaweir wand and a Crest of Saren, both very nice additions to our magic gear. Continuing on towards curses, I went and completed the Tourist Trap. This is a pretty simple quest that awards a bit of XP when complete. Next up was Desert Treasure. This is a very long and potentially dangerous quest. You'll be going around the world gathering 4 diamonds, each of which brings their own challenges. The first diamond to gather is the Blood Diamond. There's not much to this one other than a mini-boss that you have to fight near the end of this part. The fight isn't particularly tough, but could prove difficult if you're under-leveled or under-geared. Once you have the diamond, you'll want to teleport and bank it as soon as possible. This is because while holding any of the diamonds, there's a chance for a stranger to spawn who is capable of hitting over 5,000 damage per attack. The next diamond to get is the Ice Diamond. For this one, you'll be traveling through an icy area that will constantly lower your stats. Because of this, it's highly recommended to bring super restores with you to counteract the stat draining. You also want to bring fire spells for this part in order to be able to attack Camille, who will attack you partway through. And after freeing the troll parents, you'll get the Ice Diamond. Make sure you bank this one just like the first one. Next up is the Smoke Diamond. For this one, you'll need to run through this dungeon, lighting torches in each corner. You'll need to wear a face mask when in here, or you'll be dealt constant damage. Once you've lit the torches, there's a chest in the center of the dungeon that'll open to give you a key. Take this key to the east part of the dungeon to battle the next mini-boss. You need to be wearing ice gloves when fighting him, but other than that, this one is pretty easy. When going for the next diamond, you'll need to open this locked chest using lockpicks, which can take many attempts. It can be a good idea to stock up on lockpicks daily from the Thieves Guild before attempting this quest, so you have a bunch to use. You can also obtain hair clips from the King's Ransom quest to use here as well. Later on, after traversing another dungeon, you'll battle the final mini-boss and get a Shadow Diamond. With all the diamonds, you'll bring them to this pyramid and place them on the pillars before trekking through the pyramid itself. And soon after, the quest will be complete, awarding you access to the Ancient Magic Spellbook. With that one complete, it was time to complete the temple at Sentiston. This is another longish quest, but doesn't actually contain anything too difficult. The most difficult thing being having to do a run of barrows during the quest. Aside from that, it's pretty straightforward. And once completed, we now have access to curses. This prayer book will be key to higher end PVM. This is where we get access to the Soul Split prayer, the Deflect prayers, and the Tier 95 accuracy prayers. We'll need to get our prayer level to 95 to be able to use each of these, so that'll be a pretty big priority going forward. Next, I wanted to start working towards unlocking Priff, mainly so we'll have access to the Morbrand enhancers that I bought for doing Araxor. Starting off, I went and completed the Roving Elves quest, which is a quick and easy one that provides a bit of strength XP when complete. Next, I completed Sheep Herder, which is a bit of an annoying quest, but rewards you with a hefty 4 quest points when completed. Then it was time to complete Morning's End Part 1, which is another long quest with some kind of annoying parts, but doesn't really contain anything too dangerous. When completed, you'll gain a nice chunk of thieving and construction XP. Taking a break from questing, I went ahead and decided to go for my ranged Kiln Cape. This time was actually much easier to do with the help of Soul Split, and I was able to finish it with a lot more supplies left than last time. I also ended up having an absolutely wild night one stream where the Mad Lads, Flans, Tangy, and Glock gifted over 350 gift subs in a single night. This was honestly more support than I could ever imagine getting, and thank you again for the huge support. Then after a whole bunch of grinding, I ended up getting 95 prayer. This ended up being a pretty long grind, and my strategy was to first get the first age outfit at Ectofunctus using the Infernal Ashes that I'd gathered from Twin Furies. Then, using my Gilded Altar in my house, I used up all the Dragon Bones I'd gotten from Vindicta. And then, since I still had a metric ton of Infernal Ashes from Twins, I finished it off at the Ectofunctus again. Now I can use the absolutely amazing tier 95 prayers. I also went and finished off 75 summoning towards my Priff requirements. I still needed 75 agility for Priff, so I decided to complete the Prisoner of Glaufrey quest. This is a pretty long quest with a few puzzles involved. I'd highly recommend using the wiki for the puzzles because they can be pretty complicated. Other than that, it's a relatively simple quest that awards a whole bunch of XP and a bunch of skills. Then next up, I went to complete the Branches of Darkmeyer. This is a fairly long quest that also ends with a rather dangerous boss fight. Throughout the quest, you'll be infiltrating the vampire city and completing various tasks to gain reputation within the city. Later on, you'll need to complete this orb puzzle near the Blisterwood tree, and I'd very much recommend referencing the wiki to help make this easier. Finally, at the end of the quest, you'll need to battle Vanstrom Klaus. If you're not very familiar with PvM, this can prove to be a rather difficult fight. He has a variety of special attacks that can deal large amounts of damage, so make sure to read up on the wiki about his mechanics. Once defeated, it's time to finish up the quest and gain an absolute ton of XP and a bunch of different skills. Afterwards, I went and completed Morning's End Part 2. This quest is a bit infamous for its large and complex puzzle throughout this temple. There are a whole lot of steps towards completing this, and I would very highly recommend using the wiki to do it. On its own, this would probably take several hours, but with the help of the wiki, it can be completed in a more reasonable amount of time. Just make sure to follow each step precisely, or you may end up having to redo parts of the puzzle. I'd also highly recommend turning this mirror back whenever you enter this final area, because if you don't, you'll have to redo parts of the puzzle to get back in. Once completed, we get a nice chunk of agility XP. Continuing on, the next quest to complete was Within the Light. This is another puzzle-heavy quest, and unfortunately with this one, your puzzle won't be the same as everyone else's, so you'll have to complete it on your own. And once completed, we gain a bunch more XP and are one step closer to unlocking Priff. At this point, the one Priff skill requirement I was still missing was 75 agility. I ended up using the Anachronia agility course to level this up. If you don't have the agility level to do the full course, you can still do sections of the course for good XP rates. It gets even better if the roar is active. And after a bit of work, 75 agility was completed. Finally, before we could start playing Zend, I had to complete Catapult Construction, which is a super easy and quick quest to complete that awards some nice construction XP when completed. I also decided to take the time and go grab the Asylum Surgeon's Ring from completing the challenges for the Broken Home quest before moving on. You just have to redo the Broken Home quest while not dying, only eating a limited amount of food, and under a timer. It's honestly not too bad if you use a guide to run through this quickly. This ring will end up being our best for many situations, as it provides good hybrid stats and also a strong effect where occasionally your thresholds will cost no adrenaline. With that done, it was finally time to do Plague's End. This is a pretty long quest where you need to gather each of the elven clan leaders to restore Priff. Most of this quest is relatively simple and shouldn't cause you too much trouble. The main thing with this quest will be the final puzzles and boss battles. Near the end of the quest, you'll need to complete a bunch of light puzzles where you reflect a beam using mirrors to the center of the room. These aren't too difficult to complete, but if you're having trouble, as always, the wiki is your best friend. After completing each puzzle, there will be a combat challenge to overcome. After the first 3, it'll just be some minions that aren't very hard to defeat. Starting with the 4th puzzle, the Dark Lord will join into the fights. He's not particularly hard, but does have one mechanic to watch out for. Every other attack, he places a damaging area effect where you're standing. This will deal rapid hits of 10% of your health, so it's pretty important to make sure you're not standing in it. So just move out of the way each time he places this and you'll have no issues. After all that, we get an awesome cutscene showing off the newly unlocked Priff. This city will be fantastic for the account for various skilling activities, along with my main concern, the ability to finally use our Morphin reward enhancers for racks. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to let me know what you thought down in the comments below. I'd also love it for you to come and hang out with us on Twitch sometime under the same name as my YouTube channel, BreaCheese. A link to my stream and schedule will be down in the video description. Anyways, see you in the next one.